What if a single act of kindness could unravel a decade-long conspiracy and change the world? In the heart of Atlanta, 12-year-old Amara Davis, armed with a wrench and an emerald ring, stumbles into a mystery that pits her against a ruthless empire. This is a story of courage, truth, and the unbreakable spirit of a girl who proves that even the smallest voice can topple giants. Join us on this gripping journey of redemption and hope, where every choice sparks a revolution. Like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to dive into this unforgettable tale and uncover more stories that ignite the heart. On a scorching Georgia afternoon, a single act of kindness was about to unravel a decade-old secret that would shake an empire to its core. The sun beat down mercilessly on a dusty back road just outside Atlanta, where 12-year-old Amara Davis trudged home from school, her worn sneakers kicking up clouds of red dirt. Her backpack, heavy with books and a small toolkit her uncle had given her, bounced against her back. Amara's eyes, sharp and curious, caught sight of something unusual. A sleek, sapphire blue Ford Mustang parked on the shoulder, its hood propped open like a wounded beast. A man in a tailored suit, clearly out of place in this quiet, rural community, paced beside it, his voice sharp as he barked into his phone. "I don't care what it costs. I've been stranded for an hour, and I've got a meeting with the mayor in 2." Amara slowed her steps, her heart tugging with a mix of caution and compassion. Her mother, Clara, had always warned her about strangers, especially in their close-knit, predominantly black neighborhood where wealth like this man's stood out like a sore thumb. But there was something in his frantic gestures, the way his shoulders slumped in defeat, that made her pause. She adjusted her backpack, feeling the familiar weight of the inside tools her Uncle Marcus, a mechanic, insisted she carry. "You never know when you can fix something, or someone," he'd say with a wink. "Excuse me, sir," Amara called out, her voice steady but soft. "Can I help with your car?" The man, Ethan Caldwell, CEO of Caldwell Industries and one of Atlanta's most powerful real estate tycoons, spun around, his brow furrowed in surprise. His eyes swept over the slight girl with neatly braided hair, a faded t-shirt, and a confidence that didn't match her age. "That's kind of you, kid," he said, his tone a mix of irritation and condescension. "But this is a high-performance car. I need a real mechanic." Amara didn't flinch. She stepped closer, peering under the hood with a practiced eye. "My uncle's been teaching me about engines since I could hold a wrench. I can take a look." Before Ethan could protest, she set her backpack down and leaned over the engine, her small hands moving with a precision that made his jaw tighten. "When did it start acting up?" she asked, her voice all business. Ethan sighed, glancing at his gold watch. "About an hour ago. It overheated, then just died." "Any sweet smell, like syrup?" Amara's question caught him off guard. He nodded, brows lifting. "Yeah, now that you mention it." She pointed to a small puddle beneath the car, barely noticeable in the dust. "Coolant leak. That's why it overheated." As she spoke, her fingers traced the radiator hose, pinpointing the issue with an ease that made Ethan blink. This wasn't just a kid playing pretend she knew what she was doing. As Amara worked, brushing a braid from her face, the sunlight caught a glint on her finger ring, emerald green and set in antique gold, held in place by a thread wrapped around its base to fit her small hand. Ethan's breath hitched. That ring, he'd seen it before, 10 years ago, in a place he'd tried to forget. A place called Starlight Haven. His heart pounded, a mix of disbelief and dread stirring in his chest. Who was this girl? And why was she wearing a piece of his past? Just as the glint of Amara's emerald ring sparked a buried memory in Ethan Caldwell's mind, a shadow of unease crept over the dusty Georgia road, hinting at secrets too dangerous to stay hidden. The 12-year-old girl, oblivious to the storm her chance encounter had stirred, packed her tools and waved goodbye to Ethan, her small figure disappearing down the path to her modest home. But for Ethan, the CEO of Caldwell Industries, the sight of that ring or relic from a past he'd tried to bury ignited a fire of questions that refused to be ignored. Why was this girl, Amara Davis, wearing a ring he'd last seen 10 years ago at Starlight Haven, an orphanage that had vanished under mysterious circumstances? And what did it mean that she, a child from a rural Atlanta community, held a piece of his history in her grease-stained hands? Ethan's polished shoes crunched against the gravel as he slid back into his Mustang, the engine now humming smoothly thanks to Amara's quick fix. His mind raced, replaying the moment he'd given that emerald ring to a little girl at Starlight Haven, a promise of hope during a charity visit he'd made as a young executive. The orphanage had closed shortly after, swallowed by his family's business dealings, and he'd never returned. Now, the ring's reappearance felt like a ghost from that forgotten chapter, whispering accusations he wasn't ready to face. He gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles whitening, and made a call. Ramirez, it's Ethan. I need you to dig into someone Amara Davis, about 12, lives near Atlanta, and find out everything you can about Starlight Haven. Yes, the orphanage. I don't care what it costs. Meanwhile, Amara pushed open the creaky door of her aunt and uncle's small house, the scent of fried okra and cornbread greeting her. She dropped her backpack by the couch, the weight of the day settling into her bones. Her Aunt Olivia, stirring a pot on the stove, glanced over with a warm smile. You're late, sweetheart. Trouble on the road? Amara hesitated, then pulled Ethan's business card from her pocket. I helped a man with his car, fancy guy, named Ethan Caldwell. He got real weird when he saw my ring. Olivia's spoon froze mid-stir, her eyes narrowing. Caldwell? As in Caldwell Industries? Amara nodded, twirling the emerald ring on her finger, its green stone catching the kitchen light. He asked where I got it. I told him it was Mama Lena's, but he looked, I don't know, scared. Olivia exchanged a glance with Marcus, Amara's uncle, who just stepped in from the garage, his hands still smudged with oil. Marcus took the card, his jaw tightening. Caldwell Industries bought out Starlight Haven years ago, right after your Mama Lena took you away. That's no coincidence, Amara. The air in the kitchen grew heavy, the warmth of the meal overshadowed by a creeping dread. Amara's heart thudded. She'd always known her mother, Lena, her adoptive mother who died in a car crash last year, had kept parts of her past hidden. The ring, Lena had said, was a symbol of a promise, something Amara would understand when the time came. But what promise? And why did Ethan Caldwell, a stranger in a suit, react as if he'd seen a ghost? That night, as Amara lay in her small bedroom, the ring felt heavier on her finger. She stared at it, the emerald's faint crescent-shaped flaw glinting in the moonlight. Across town, Ethan sat in his sleek Atlanta penthouse, a glass of bourbon untouched on his desk. His investigator's preliminary report lay open. Starlight Haven had been acquired by Caldwell Industries for a fraction of its value, citing financial irregularities. The adoption records for Amara Davis? Missing. And Lena Davis, her adoptive mother, dead in a crash with suspicious brake failure. Ethan's pulse quickened. This wasn't just a coincidence, it was a thread in a tapestry of secrets his family had woven, and Amara's ring was the key to unraveling it. No one could have foreseen that a single emerald ring, glinting on a young girl's finger, would pull Ethan Caldwell and Amara Davis into a web of buried truths that threatened to upend everything they knew. The weight of the ring's mystery lingered in Ethan's Atlanta penthouse, where he pored over his investigator's report, each line tightening the knot in his chest. Across town, 12-year-old Amara sat cross-legged on her bedroom floor, the faint glow of a bedside lamp illuminating her mother's keepsake box. The business card Ethan had given her lay beside it, its embossed letters gleaming like a warning. The air felt charged, as if the secrets of Starlight Haven, the orphanage that had shaped her early years, were clawing their way to the surface, demanding to be heard. Ethan's investigator, Ramirez, had unearthed troubling details. Starlight Haven's closure 10 years ago wasn't just a business deal, it was a calculated move by Caldwell Industries, orchestrated by Ethan's father, Victor Caldwell. The orphanage's land, now slated for a luxury development called Project Apollo, had been bought for pennies, citing financial mismanagement. But the real shock was the absence of Amara's adoption records. It was as if she'd never existed at Starlight Haven. And Lena Davis, Amara's adoptive mother? Her car crash, ruled an accident, showed signs of tampered brakes. Ethan's hands trembled as he dialed Ramirez. Dig deeper. I need to know what my father was hiding at Starlight and find out who Lena Davis really was. In Amara's small bedroom, the keepsake box held more than held answers. She lifted a yellowed envelope, her mother's handwriting scrawled across it. For Amara, when the time comes. Her fingers hesitated, sensing the gravity of what lay inside. Breaking the seal, she found a letter, its words heavy with urgency. My dearest Amara, it began, if you're reading this, someone from the Caldwell family has found you. I was a nurse at Starlight Haven, and I took you away to protect you. You're special, not just to me, but to them. They wanted your gift, your ability to understand machines like no one else. The ring is more than a keepsake. It holds the truth. Keep it safe. Amara's breath caught, her eyes darting to the emerald ring on her finger. What truth? And why had her mother lived in fear? The next morning, Amara showed the letter to her Aunt Olivia and Uncle Marcus in their cozy kitchen, the scent of coffee mingling with tension. Olivia's face paled as she read, her voice barely a whisper. Lena always said she was running from something. She changed your names, moved here to hide. I thought it was just grief talking. Marcus clenched his fists, his mechanic's hands scarred and strong. Caldwell Industries shut down Starlight Haven right after Lena took you. They didn't just want the land, Amara. They wanted you. Amara's heart raced, a mix of fear and defiance bubbling up. Her gift or knack for fixing anything from radios to engine had always felt like a blessing. Now, it felt like a curse. Across town, Ethan confronted his father in the sleek boardroom of Caldwell Industries, the Atlanta skyline gleaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. Victor, a silver-haired titan with a smile as cold as steel, leaned back in his chair. Why are you digging into Starlight Haven, Ethan? It's ancient history. Focus on Project Apollo. Billions are at stake. Ethan's voice was steady but sharp. What were we really doing at that orphanage, Dad? Why are Amara's records missing? Victor's eyes narrowed, a flicker of unease betraying his composure. You're chasing ghosts, son. Let it go. But Ethan couldn't. The ring, Amara's uncanny skill, and Lena's suspicious death were pieces of a puzzle that pointed to something sinister, something his family had buried deep. As Amara slipped the ring back onto her finger, its weight felt like a call to action. She didn't know what the Caldwells wanted, but she knew her mother had risked everything to keep her safe. And Ethan, staring out at the city lights, felt the walls of his privileged world closing in. The truth about Starlight Haven was out there, and it was tied to a girl who fixed broken machines and might just break open his family's darkest secrets. Just when Amara Davis thought the emerald ring on her finger was merely a cherished memento from her late mother, its hidden truth began to unravel, a chilling conspiracy that reached the heart of Caldwell Industries. The 12-year-old girl sat in her aunt and uncle's modest Atlanta kitchen, the letter from her adoptive mother, Lena, trembling in her hands. Its words burned into her mind. She was no ordinary child, but a target, her uncanny ability to fix machines coveted by powerful forces. Across the city, Ethan Caldwell, haunted by his father's evasiveness, dug deeper into Starlight Haven's dark history, each discovery tightening the noose around his family's legacy. The air crackled with tension, as if the ghosts of the past were converging, ready to expose a truth neither Amara nor Ethan was prepared to face. Amara's Aunt Olivia clutched the letter, her voice shaking. Lena risking to keep you safe, Amara. She said Starlight Haven wasn't just an orphanage, it was a testing ground. Uncle Marcus, his mechanic's hands clenched, added, Caldwell Industries didn't just buy the land. They were after kids like you kids who could do things others couldn't. Amara's heart pounded, her gift for understanding machines suddenly feeling like a dangerous secret. She twirled the ring, its emerald stone glinting ominously. Lena's letter hinted at something hidden within it. But what? Determined, Amara resolved to uncover the truth, her fear giving way to a fierce resolve. She wouldn't let her mother's sacrifice be in vain. Meanwhile, Ethan's investigation took a sinister turn. His investigator, Ramirez, uncovered a classified file labeled Apollo Rising, a secret program buried within Caldwell Industries records. It detailed experiments on children from Starlight Haven, targeting those with extraordinary cognitive abilities like Amara's mechanical intuition for military and commercial gain. The file listed Amara as Subject 12. Marked for special acquisition. Worse, Lena's car crash was no accident. A mechanic's report noted deliberate sabotage. Ethan's stomach churned. His father, Victor Caldwell, had orchestrated it all, profiting from the exploitation of vulnerable children. Furious, Ethan stormed into Victor's office, slamming the file on his desk. "What is Apollo Rising, Dad? What did you do to those kids?" Victor's smile was icy. "You're out of your depth, Ethan. Apollo Rising is the future power. Patents, control. Starlight was just the beginning." The confrontation left Ethan reeling, his loyalty to his family warring with his growing horror. He couldn't ignore the truth any longer. Amara was in danger, and his father's empire was built on blood. Back at home, Amara's search for answers led her to the ring itself. Late at night, under the flicker of her desk lamp, she examined it closely, noticing a faint seam in the gold band. With a small screwdriver from her toolkit, she pried open a hidden compartment, revealing a tiny data chip. Her breath caught. This was what Lena meant: the truth, encoded and hidden, a weapon against those who hunted her. But as she held it, a chill ran through her. The Caldwells were watching, and they wouldn't let this secret surface without a fight. In Atlanta's gleaming skyline, Ethan stared out from his penthouse, the city's lights mocking his turmoil. He knew confronting his father again would mean risking everything: his wealth, his status, his safety. Yet Amara's face, her fearless determination, haunted him. She was a child, yet she carried a burden that could topple an empire. And Amara, clutching the data chip in her small hand, felt the weight of her mother's courage. The truth was in her grasp, but the cost of revealing it loomed larger than she could imagine. The stage was set for a reckoning, and neither could turn back now. If this story of courage and hidden truths has gripped your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support fuels our passion to bring you more thrilling, inspiring tales that uncover the power of the human spirit. Join us to see how Amara's journey unfolds. Hit that subscribe button and let's dive deeper together. In the heartbeat before the truth could be silenced, Amara Davis's tiny data chip became the spark that would ignite a firestorm, threatening to burn Caldwell Industries to the ground. The 12-year-old girl, clutching the chip her mother had hidden in the emerald ring, stood on the precipice of a battle she never chose. Across Atlanta, Ethan Caldwell, armed with damning evidence of his father's crimes, prepared to confront the empire he'd once called home. The air in the city pulsed with anticipation, as if the walls of power were bracing for collapse. Amara and Ethan, bound by a shared past and a relentless pursuit of justice, were about to face Victor Caldwell in a showdown that would echo far beyond the gleaming towers of Atlanta. Ethan's resolve hardened as he strode into the 40th floor boardroom of Caldwell Industries, the Atlanta skyline a stark backdrop to the tension within. The room buzzed with nervous executives, their faces pale under Victor's steely gaze. Ethan's heart pounded, but his voice was unwavering as he connected his laptop to the massive screen. "We're here to discuss Apollo Rising," he declared, his words slicing through the room's unease. Before Victor could interrupt, federal prosecutor Sarah Mitchell stepped forward, her presence a silent promise of accountability. "Mr. Caldwell," she said, addressing Victor, "we have questions about your experiments on children, starting with Starlight Haven." Victor's face twisted, a flicker of fear betraying his composure. "This is absurd," he hissed. "Ethan, you're betraying your own blood." The screen flickered to life, displaying classified documents, grainy security footage, and financial records. The evidence was undeniable. Apollo Rising had targeted children like Amara, exploiting their unique talents for profit and power. A video showed Lena Davis, Amara's mother, fleeing Starlight Haven with a child in her arms, pursued by Victor's orders. "Find her. Subject 12 is too valuable to lose." Gasps rippled through the room, but Ethan pressed on, his voice steady. "You falsified adoptions, bribed officials, and silenced anyone who asked questions. Lena Davis's death was no accident." Victor's smile was venomous. "You have no proof, son. This is corporate espionage." At that moment, the boardroom doors swung open, and Amara entered, her small frame radiating defiance. Beside her stood Uncle Marcus and Daniel Brooks, a local journalist whose camera was streaming live to thousands online. Amara's eyes locked on Victor, unflinching. She held up the emerald ring, its hidden compartment open, revealing the data chip. "My mother was smarter than you," she said, her voice clear and strong. "This chip has everything: your meetings with military contractors, your plans to weaponize kids like me." Daniel's voice cut through the stunned silence. 20,000 people are watching right now. The world knows. Victor's facade crumbled, his hands gripping the table as federal agents stormed in, handcuffs gleaming. The room erupted in chaos, but Amara stood still, her gaze piercing Victor. Ethan, watching her, felt a surge of awe. This child, with her courage and her mother's legacy, had done what he'd spent years avoiding. She'd faced the truth head-on. The data chip, a testament to Lena's sacrifice, had exposed a decade of corruption in a single, searing moment. As Victor was led away, his empire unraveling in real time, Ethan knew this was only the beginning. Amara, holding the ring that had once been a secret, now held the power to reshape the future. As the echoes of Victor Caldwell's downfall reverberated through Atlanta's gleaming skyscrapers, the weight of truth settled over the city, leaving Amara Davis and Ethan Caldwell to face the wreckage of a shattered empire. The dramatic boardroom confrontation, broadcast live to millions, had stripped away Caldwell Industries' facade, exposing a decade of exploitation. 12-year-old Amara, her emerald ring, now a symbol of triumph rather than secrecy, stood firm in the aftermath. Her courage, a beacon in the chaos. Ethan, once heir to a corrupt legacy, grappled with the cost of his betrayal, knowing the path to redemption would be long and steep. The air was thick with the promise of justice, but also the quiet ache of lives forever changed by the truth. In the boardroom's aftermath, federal agents led Victor Caldwell away in handcuffs, his once imposing figure diminished under the weight of his crimes. The executives, stunned into silence, watched as their empire crumbled, stock prices plummeting as news of Apollo Rising spread like wildfire. Amara, flanked by Uncle Marcus and journalist Daniel Brooks, faced Victor one last time. Her voice, steady despite her youth, cut through the tension. "My mama taught me broken machines can be fixed, but broken people have to fix themselves. I hope you try, Mr. Caldwell." Victor's eyes, cold and unrepentant, met hers briefly before he was escorted out, leaving a void where his power once stood. Amara's words lingered, a quiet testament to her mother Lena's wisdom and her own unbreakable spirit. Outside, Ethan met Amara's gaze, his heart heavy with gratitude and guilt. "You didn't have to come, Amara," he said softly. She shook her head, the ring glinting on her finger. "Mama always said I'd have to face the people who made us run. I owed her that." Ethan nodded, struck by the depth of her resolve. He traded his family's wealth for the truth, cooperating with prosecutors to dismantle Apollo Rising's network. The cost was immense: his inheritance, his reputation, but Amara's courage had shown him a purpose beyond privilege. As the crowd outside the building grew, chanting for justice, Ethan vowed to make amends, not just for himself, but for every child Victor had exploited. In the days that followed, Caldwell Industries faced relentless scrutiny. Investigations uncovered a web of corruption, falsified records, illegal experiments, and silenced witnesses. The media hailed Amara as a hero. Her story splashed across headlines. "Girls' ring topples corporate giant." Yet Amara, back in her aunt and uncle's modest home, sought solace in her workshop, tinkering with a broken radio. The hum of tools and scent of oil grounded her, a reminder of the life she'd fought to protect. Uncle Marcus, watching her work, ruffled her hair. "You've got your mama's heart, kid. She'd be proud." Amara smiled, but the ache of Lena's absence lingered, a bittersweet undercurrent to her victory. Ethan, meanwhile, faced his own reckoning. He liquidated his personal assets, funneling the funds into a trust for Starlight Haven survivors. The decision estranged him from his remaining family, but it freed him from the shadow of his father's sins. Standing before a press conference, he spoke plainly. "I was part of a system that hurt people. I can't undo that, but I can help rebuild." His words, raw and honest, resonated with a public hungry for accountability. For Amara, the news of Ethan's actions brought a flicker of hope. The man she'd met on a dusty road, once a stranger, was now an ally in a fight she hadn't started but had finished. As the dust settled, Amara and Ethan stood at a crossroads. The truth had set them free, but it had also laid bare the scars of a broken system. Victor's empire was gone, but the children he'd targeted deserved more than justice. They deserved a future. Amara, twirling her ring, felt Lena's presence guiding her forward. The fight wasn't over, but for the first time, she believed she could shape what came next. Even as the ashes of Caldwell Industries settled, Amara Davis and Ethan Caldwell discovered that tearing down a corrupt empire was only the beginning of a journey to rebuild lives and restore hope. 6 years after the explosive confrontation that brought Victor Caldwell to justice, the scars of Starlight Haven's secrets had begun to heal, replaced by a vision of possibility. 18-year-old Amara, now a confident young woman, walked the halls of the Davis Innovation Center, a state-of-the-art facility built on the very land where the orphanage once stood. Ethan, no longer the polished heir but a humbled advocate, worked tirelessly beside her, their shared mission a testament to the power of redemption. The Atlanta skyline shimmered in the distance, a reminder that from destruction, something beautiful could rise. Amara's days were filled with purpose. The Davis Center, funded by Ethan's liquidated fortune and public donations, was a haven for young inventors from marginalized communities. Its workshops buzzed with the hum of tools and the spark of ideas, a far cry from the exploitation of Apollo Rising. Amara, her emerald ring now a proud emblem of her mother's legacy, led a team of engineers, her knack for fixing complex systems as sharp as ever. One morning, she paused to inspect a malfunctioning robotic arm, her eyes scanning its circuits with the same precision she'd used to repair Ethan's Mustang years ago. "It's a wiring issue," she told her team, her voice calm but authoritative. "We'll have it running by noon." Her uncle Marcus, now the center's engineering director, watched with pride. "You're a natural, Amara." Lena would have burst with joy. Ethan, dressed in jeans and a simple button-down, guided a group of investors through the center's labs. His once lavish lifestyle was gone, replaced by a quiet dedication to righting his family's wrongs. "We've identified 42 kids with exceptional talents this year," he explained, his voice steady with conviction. "Each gets a full scholarship, mentorship, no strings attached. This isn't about profit, it's about potential." The investors nodded, moved by the center's mission and Ethan's transformation. Once a symbol of privilege, he was now a man redefined by purpose, inspired by a girl who'd shown him the cost of silence. Amara's courage had not only toppled an empire, but had given Ethan a reason to rebuild, not for himself, but for others. In a quiet moment, Amara and Ethan sat in the center's garden, the ring glinting as she twirled it thoughtfully. "I used to think fixing things was just about machines," she said, her voice soft but resolute. "But Mama Lena taught me it's about people, too, giving them a chance to shine." Ethan nodded, his eyes tracing the horizon. "I spent years chasing wealth, blind to the damage my family caused. You changed that, Amara. You showed me what matters." Their shared reflection was a balm, a recognition that their pain, Amara's loss, Ethan's guilt, had forged a path to something greater. The center wasn't just a building. It was a promise to the children Victor had exploited, a vow that their talents would be nurtured, not stolen. The center's first graduation ceremony loomed, a milestone for 12 young innovators who'd completed its rigorous program. Amara, though not yet a graduate, was asked to speak. Standing before a packed auditorium, she held the crowd's attention, her presence commanding yet warm. "6 years ago, I fixed a stranger's car on a dusty road," she began, her words carrying the weight of her journey. "That small act led me to a truth that changed everything. My mama said broken systems don't need fixing, they need rebuilding. That's what we're doing here, creating a world where every kid gets to dream big." The applause was thunderous, but for Amara, the quiet nod from Aunt Olivia in the front row meant the most. Ethan, watching from the back, felt a lump in his throat. Amara hadn't just saved herself, she'd saved him too. As the applause from Amara Davis's speech faded into the warm Atlanta night, the promise of a brighter future took root, proving that even the smallest spark of courage could ignite a revolution. The Davis Innovation Center, born from the ruins of Starlight Haven, stood as a testament to the resilience of a young woman and the redemption of a man who dared to change. 18-year-old Amara, her emerald ring now a symbol of hope, and Ethan Caldwell, a former heir-turned-advocate, had transformed their pain into a legacy of empowerment. But their journey, which began with a chance encounter on a dusty road, carried a deeper lesson known that would resonate far beyond the walls of their center, challenging the world to rethink the power of truth and the potential of every child. Amara's speech had galvanized the community, but it was the quiet moments afterward that cemented her impact. In the center's garden, surrounded by blooming jasmine and the laughter of young inventors, she sat with Aunt Olivia and Uncle Marcus, reflecting on the path that led her here. "I was just a kid trying to help a stranger," Amara said, her voice soft with wonder. "I didn't know fixing a car would lead to all this." Olivia squeezed her hand, her eyes misty. "Your Mama Lena always knew you were special, not just for your gift, but for your heart. You've given kids like you a chance she never had." Marcus nodded, his gruff voice warm. "You didn't just fix machines, Amara, you fixed a whole system." The weight of their words settled over her, a blend of pride and responsibility. The ring, once a heavy secret, now felt light, a reminder that her mother's love had guided her to this moment. Ethan, standing nearby, watched the scene with a quiet reverence. The man who'd once measured success in dollars now saw it in the faces of the center's students' kids who, like Amara, had been overlooked but never outmatched. He approached, his voice low but earnest. "I spent years building walls to hide from the truth," he admitted. "You tore them down, Amara, and showed me what real strength looks like. This center, this community, it's your legacy as much as mine." Amara smiled, her eyes meeting his. "It's ours, Ethan, and it's theirs," she said, nodding toward the children playing nearby. Their shared understanding was a bridge, forged from the ashes of Starlight Haven, connecting their past to a future they were building together. The broader impact of their work rippled outward. The Davis Center's success inspired similar programs across the country, each dedicated to nurturing talent in underserved communities. Amara's story, once a headline, became a movement, with schools and nonprofits citing her as proof that one voice could dismantle injustice. Ethan, now a sought-after speaker, shared their journey at conferences, his message clear: true power lies not in wealth, but in uplifting others. Yet for Amara, the greatest reward was personal. A letter arrived from a federal prosecutor, revealing that her testimony had exposed 4 more orphanages tied to Apollo Rising, saving dozens of children. "They want to meet you," the letter read, and Amara felt a surge of purpose. Her fight had begun with her mother's sacrifice, but it would end with a generation empowered to soar. The lesson of Amara's journey was profound. Courage, no matter how small, can topple empires and rebuild worlds. A 12-year-old girl, armed with a wrench and a ring, had challenged a system that thrived on exploitation, proving that justice isn't just about punishment, it's about creating something better. For Ethan, it was a reminder that redemption requires action, not just regret. Together, they taught the world that every child deserves a chance to shine, and every broken system can be reimagined. As the sun set over the Davis Center, its sign gleamed with a simple truth: every talent deserves to flourish. Amara and Ethan, standing side by side, knew this was only the beginning of a legacy of hope, built on the unyielding power of truth. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the Davis Innovation Center, Amara Davis and Ethan Caldwell stood together, their journey a powerful reminder that even the smallest act of courage can reshape the world. From a chance encounter on a dusty Atlanta road to the fall of a corrupt empire, Amara's emerald ring, once a secret, now a beacon, carried the weight of her mother's love and the strength of a girl who dared to fight. "I never thought fixing a stranger's car would lead to this," Amara reflects, her voice steady with the wisdom of her 18 years. "But I learned that truth isn't just about exposing what's wrong, it's about building what's right." For Ethan, the path was one of redemption. "I was blind to my family's sins," he admits, "but Amara showed me that real power lies in giving others a chance to shine." Their story is more than a victory over injustice. It's a testament to the enduring value of compassion, resilience, and the belief that every child deserves to dream. Amara's courage taught us that a single voice, no matter how young, can topple giants. Ethan's transformation reminds us that redemption is possible when we choose action over regret. Together, They rebuilt a broken system, proving that justice isn't just about tearing down, it's about creating spaces where hope can flourish. The Davis Center, with its buzzing workshops and bright young minds, stands as a living lesson. True change begins with the courage to act, the heart to care, and the vision to dream bigger than the past. This journey challenges us all to look within and ask, what small act of courage can we take today to make a difference? Amara and Ethan's story shows that the ripple of one choice can change lives, communities, even the world. If their tale of triumph and transformation has touched your heart, please like this video, drop a comment with your thoughts, and hit that subscribe button to join our YouTube community. Your support fuels our passion to bring you more inspiring stories of ordinary people creating extraordinary change. Subscribe now, and let's keep the spark of hope alive together.